The easy part's becoming champion. The hard part's staying champion. Hey, how's it going, people? Panda here, and this is the Raw overview thing, or what was the name? Panda does wrestling for Monday Night Raw, for 6/24. This was the Raw after what many are saying was the best of the year, and I would agree. And they definitely didn't drop the ball completely coming off of next week. I was afraid that they would, or last week, I was afraid that they would put out last week's show, had all the praises, and then just give complete crap, but they didn't. First segment, it was actually Daniel Bryan coming out, and I was, of course, really surprised by it because it was actually supposed to be a match. It was kind of ended up being just kind of a fake match thing, but he came out, did a short little promo, kind of calling out Randy Orton for calling him the weak link, and talking about their matches from last week. It ended up being a double disqualification. That was really it from that. They ended up getting a rematch. Later on, it was going to be the Raw Active thing. Next match was Team Road Scholar. I don't even know what to say about that anymore. We're broke up, come back together, went apart, come back together again. It's just, that's getting annoying. If they're going to be a team, have them wrestle actual tag teams, maybe challenge for the title, but just throwing them together against random people is kind of annoying. Which I guess it wasn't completely random. They faced Sheamus and Christian. After a couple minutes into the match, I realized that's an interesting tag, since I'm pretty sure Sheamus was the one that put Christian on the sidelines. But it was an overall good match. Sheamus and Christian won. You probably have guessed that. All it really seemed to be was just a huge plug for SmackDown, because they want to try and build up SmackDown's viewer base, and they kept saying Sheamus and Sandow was going to be in a Dublin street fight or something. I don't know. Next match, another surprising thing for me was Kaitlyn versus Oksana. What I'm hoping from Payback anyway is that they are starting to try and build up the Divas division. Of course, it was kind of course Kaitlyn was going to win, but they did kind of attempt to distract her where she might get pinned by Oksana. And anyway, AJ came out in a muscle suit and like Kaitlyn style clothing with a wig and all that jazz. Came out and just kind of walked around and posed. I never noticed how good Kaitlyn's spear was until this Raw. Like, it always seemed like she did just kind of hit them, and for the Divas, they're not supposed to get up from that, but she really did hit Oksana well, and Oksana sold it pretty good, but she actually has a really good spear. I never noticed that. But after the match, AJ started mocking her on the mic about the whole Big E secret admirer thing. It was actually pretty funny. Layla was out in the ring trying to help hold back Kaitlyn. I guess just get everyone involved, whatever. Next segment, or match, whatever, was Chris Jericho versus Del Rio. This was a rematch from SmackDown because of Ziggler getting Jericho disqualified, I believe. They're really starting to better Del Rio's heel, which is surprising. But where recently Ricardo Rodriguez has started speaking more English, he came out and he was trolling the Charleston, South Carolina crowd with a southern accent. So it's nice that they're actually making him a better heel by creating Rodriguez as one, and this may help for when Rodriguez starts competing. See, Jericho won by disqualification because Rodriguez jumped in and hit him with the bucket when he had the walls on. I believe they started teaming up on, or no, Jericho started attacking Rodriguez because of the bucket thing, and Ziggler came down, jumped on Del Rio. That whole mess of stuff happened. It just left Jericho and Ziggler in the ring. I missed something here. Jericho hit the Codebreaker on Rodriguez. Ziggler hit Zigzag on Del Rio, and then they rolled out of the ring. I can't remember if Ziggler was trying to give a handshake to Jericho or something. They stood off in the ring for a second, and then Jericho charged by him, hit him with Zigzag for what happened on SmackDown. They also announced that it would be Ziggler and Del Rio for the title at Money in the Bank. During the next break, they did some Daniel Bryan stuff in the back. I don't remember what it was now. This is awkward. So the next segment was the WWE 2K14 cover reveal. Since then, they've also released a trailer earlier in the day, and then King re-announced it on air that they're having a contest, not a concert, for an alternate cover design that will come inside the case that you can put in the front cover. Vicky Guerrero gets the biggest heel reaction in the company. I don't know how good or how bad that actually is, but Jesus, this crowd was just laying into her. Like, they were ridiculously loud booing. Bradshaw at one point said, "This is just disrespectful," and it actually kind of got to the part where it's like, okay, just let her get it out. But damn, they were, that was like super booing. But what the hell? But Vicky showed her personal cover. It had Vince and Stephanie and Triple H because of whatever that is, where they all want her to listen to her. Brad Maddox showed his cover, which had Cena, him, and Punk on the cover. And then King showed the real cover, and it was the traditional cover review where the big banner fell with fireworks from the rafters, and it showed The Rock. A lot of hate coming for Rock being on the cover, and it's understandable because he is, I don't even know if you could really say that he's a part-time. Brock, you could say he's part-time. RVD may be part-time. Triple H is part-time-ish. I guess he can kind of be in the same realm as Rock, but I don't know. And I guess we can't jump to a huge conclusion with it where Rock did get injured, so he couldn't continued on a bit with at least the rematch and everything. A lot of heat. I don't really care. I mean, it's just the cover art. Of course, he was going to be in the game because it is The Rock. But go check out the trailer. It's pretty cool. Next match was Ryback versus KOTH. Better match than you would have thought, because I was iffy about it. I also didn't really like how they had Ryback come back, where they showed him walking in the backstage area and then came out for the match. But Ryback did win, and the only match I could relate this to was Fandango Chris Jericho at WrestleMania, where Jericho was just beating the crap out of Fandango, and then off of the lion salt messed up knee, Fandango got the roll up. And this Khali actually looked pretty good. He was just wailing on him the whole time, you know, with the chops and just throwing him down and everything. But it was just a random kind of event where, like, Khali had him by, like, the top of the head, or no, he did hit the double choke something. Never mind. But somehow Ryback picked him up for the shell shock, and he ended up marching twice to really show his strength. It was kind of derpy to me, because I hate when it's, you know, the who ends up winning is just beat up and beat down. Beat up and down, yes, it makes sense. But just getting destroyed the whole match, and then one thing happens and they win. It's annoying. Next segment, Cena addresses the swerve, which was the whole Mark Henry retirement thing from last week. Nothing really there. Is a traditional Cena promo. Next match was a triple threat tag team match to decide the #1 contender for the titles. It was Tons of Funk with a Sandy Relief auction winner. He just kind of walked out with them, danced with them, and then went back during the commercial. 3MB came out. It was Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre, and the Usos. When it came back, and I just saw Tons of Funk and 3MB, I was like, well, whoever the third team is going to win. Then when the Usos came out, I was surprised, first of all, but that's when I thought, well, Tons of Funk could win, I guess. But the Usos did win. Thankfully, they're starting to push them. They're starting to push an actual freaking tag team in that division, although I don't know if they'll beat the Shield, at least not at their first attempt. They might with the rematch, I would say. Brodus did a dive off the apron onto all three of 3MB, I believe. It was even though it was a relatively short jump, it was still just one of those holy crap moments where Big Brutus Clay was in the air for any amount of time, and it was kind of scary. But after the match, Usos were in the ring celebrating the Shield, walked down like halfway down the steps and held up the title, just whatever. They did. The only reason I bring this part up was because I was hoping that would happen, and it did. They did a little plug thing for the call, because it was like a WWE Studios movie, and David Otunga was in it. But it was like a setup interview with Halle Berry. Otunga calls, said, "You know how I'm not supposed to give you a number? Well, I may have given it to someone." And as soon as he said that, I was like, please let it be Kane. And it ended up being Kane. It was just hilarious. Halle Berry actually did the fire thing, because Kane was at ringside. It was just a little funny thing, even though I don't know who really is going to see that movie, or is it because it's coming out on DVD and Blu-ray? Never mind. Still, that movie's kind of it doesn't look good to me. Next segment was Paul Heyman and CM Punk talking about last week and everything. It was really long and slow, and I ended up losing interest in it, which is really surprising, because both of those guys are just amazing on the mic. Punk went through like their histories, why he supports and everything Paul Heyman. Heyman says, "I love you, Punk." Okay. They are still on good terms, apparently, which, of course, in real life they are, but like, anyway. Heyman swore on show Johnny Dents and Brock, but like I said, it was really long and slow, and it was not that good of a segment. It was, yeah. But the next match was Punk. He stayed out there to face Darren Young. Okay. This too was really long and slow. Like, I'm glad they didn't have Darren Young just completely job. They really showed him off as a good competitor, but I kind of wish it had ended earlier. But Punk won via submission. After the match, Primetime Players was ganging up on him, and Paul did send Curtis Axel to help, which is setting up a Primetime Players versus Punk and Axel team for next week, which should be pretty interesting. Next segment, Stephanie McMahon came out and announced the WWE Money in the Bank participants. They are CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, Randy Orton, Christian, Kane, and the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam. That is an awesome lineup. I haven't gotten to look down or look at a roster just yet to figure out who in the hell is going to be in the World Heavyweight Championship one, because that's literally everyone. Yeah, that's literally everyone that's not already in a feud or title match or something. They could put the mid cards in it, and they may end up having to, or at least one of them. But I'll look into that and make a video on it. I can't remember if it was at a commercial break or just straight after that. Ryback was in. We were pissed off at Vicky's. Why am I not in the Money in the Bank? This is crap. Jericho came in, did the same thing, and they set up Ryback versus Chris Jericho at Money in the Bank to parody Daniel Bryan. Why? I mean, really? That's a stupid thing. I mean, there's literally no point in those two being in their own separate match. If they're not in the WWE one, fine. Although Ryback probably should. But put them in the World Heavyweight title one. That was another reason that I was so thrown off with who in the hell is going to be in the World Heavyweight title Money in the Bank match. I don't get it. Maybe there is enough roster to fill a good one, but I don't know. Next segment, Mark Henry came out and talked on the Swerve. He just kind of he was still cutting jokes and laughing at people because of their reaction and everything. At the end, he said, last week I said, "Baby, I'm coming home," and I am coming home with the WWE Championship. So they're actually really building this up good. A lot of times Mark Henry stuff is kind of stale, but this is actually really interesting, of course, because of the freaking Swerve last week. And then the main event, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton for real this time. The WWE Active voted it to be a street fight. Daniel Bryan won via submission. I don't know if it's the no lock or the yes lock or whatever it is now, but he had it regularly in, and then reached out and grabbed a kendo stick and that was in the ring and put that across his face, or Orton's face, and he tapped. It was a really good match. Of course, because those two were just ridiculously athletic and talented and everything. But based on everything leading up, it's definitely looking like Daniel Bryan will win Money in the Bank. I was thinking him or CM Punk will. RVD might. I don't really see it, but he might. But since they were kind of building up something between Punk and Del Rio, I could see them branching off into that if Bryan wins. But anyway, that was the Raw for June 24th. If you like the video, please let me know with a thumb up or whatever it is down below. Apparently there's some people who still have the 5-star thing. I didn't know that. If I do these weekly, I may start trying to do them for SmackDown. I don't know about TNA Impact, so if you'd like to see those, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.